Let's begin this morning with the debate over what's at stake this election day, as many GOP candidates refuse to promise that they will accept the results if they lose. Last night, in a primetime address from Washington's Union Station, President Biden argued that democracy itself is on the line.
We, the people, must decide whether the rule of law will prevail, whether we will allow the dark forces to thirst for power put ahead of the principles that we've long guided us.
Former President Barack Obama had a similar message at a rally in Arizona, but our polling shows that right now the economy is the key issue driving voters to the polls, and that could benefit Republicans. Our Kris Van Cleave is in Tempe now with more. Kris, good morning.
Well, good morning, Vlad. Certainly the economy is on the minds of Arizona voters. The Phoenix metro area has seen the highest inflation rate in the nation over the last year or so. Still, Republicans using the economy, border security, and crime as their rallying cries to voters. Democrats have continued with the message that we heard from President Obama last night, that democracy is at stake.
I'm fired up.
Former President Barack Obama laid out Wednesday night what's at stake for Arizonans come Election Day.
One thing is clear, and that is this increasing habit of demonizing political opponents. So I get why people are anxious. But Phoenix, I am here to tell you that tuning out is not an option.
Rallying support for Democrats, including Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, who is in a deadlocked race with Republican candidate Kari Lake for governor.
Turns out being president or governor is about more than snappy lines and good lighting.
I don't think anybody, Elvis could come back to life and campaign for Katie Hobbs and it wouldn't help her.
Lake, a former longtime TV news anchor, has embraced former President Donald Trump's false accusations about the 2020 election.
We are going to restore faith, honesty, and integrity in our elections in Arizona.
Isn't it interesting that Barack Obama is here in town today to rally for Katie Hobbs and Mark Kelly? I think they're hoping that the former president can reinvigorate their flailing campaigns.
Republican Senate candidate Blake Masters has also raised doubts about the 2020 election results. He's hoping for a come-from-behind win against Democrat incumbent Senator Mark Kelly.
Families are struggling with the high cost of gas, groceries, and housing.
The economy is largely driving Republicans like Roy Nielsen.
The last 2 years have been a disaster in so many ways, and we know that. Disaster from the economy, from my 401k.
But former lifelong Republican Monica Villalobos is voting Democrat this year. What changed?
Everything. Everything changed. And some of those tactics that are being proposed by the Republican Party hurt business, and they hurt the brand of Arizona.
A federal judge has issued an order trying to halt reports of voter intimidation. There have been reports of people standing outside of ballot drop boxes in body armor or with firearms, recording, taking pictures of people dropping off ballots. Federal judges said you can't do that. You can't at least be within several hundred feet of the ballot boxes. It does underscore the tensions that are still in play here around the election process, the act of voting here in Arizona. Vlad?
Kris, you can understand why the Democrats would talk about the importance of preserving democracy in Arizona after the election. It was one of the states that we covered a lot with ballots being counted and so on and so forth. But it certainly seems that at the top of everyone's list when it comes to the midterms is the economy, is, how much they're paying for gas and groceries. And so I'm wondering if the Democrats kind of missed the mark a little with this messaging in Arizona, or were they nailing it early on? But as we come closer and closer to the actual election day, people are much more concerned about their own personal finances.
Well, I think we'll find out here in just a couple of days whether the Democrats are off the mark or not. Certainly nationally, we have seen our CBS polling make pretty clear that the economy is on the top of mind for a lot of folks. You've seen you've seen a huge surge of inflation here. You've seen gas prices hovering around $5 a gallon. So it is definitely something that is on the mind of Arizona voters. You hear it from Democrats, too. Their concern is that they say that the plan that Kari Lake is laying out would make things worse. Of course, Republicans are saying that the Biden administration has failed the people of Arizona, and that's been the cause of inflation. So that's certainly going to be part of what goes into the decision-making process of voters here. Democrats had banked on this protecting democracy and concerns over abortion and women's health. That continues to be both are messages that Democrats are continuing to hammer home. What's really striking here in Arizona is just how different the campaign strategies seem to be. You know, the Lake and Masters, these are almost made-for-TV political rallies. Kari Lake has always got a lapel mic on, like I'm wearing here. There's a camera following Kari that's their own in-house. They're turning stuff around for social media. Hobbs is a very substantive, detailed conversation, but the events tend to be smaller. Mark Kelly has had an understated campaign presence here. The Obama rally last night, certainly an exception to that, where you had hundreds and hundreds of people gathering there. But it's a very marked difference in how both sides are even approaching this campaign. And of course, you can't turn on the television here without seeing ads, and that's been the case for well over a year for most folks here in Arizona.
So you know, Kris, that the Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, is locked in the governor's race against her opponent, Kari Lake. And yesterday, Lake's campaign hired one of the attorneys who represented former President Donald Trump's 2020 election lawsuits. What does that signal?
Well, I think we know that this is going to be a tight race. That's certainly the expectation. And not just the governor's race. It looks like all of the statewide offices in Arizona, as well as the Senate race, are dead heats. Like it looks like it's going to be a very close election. Kari Lake has made election integrity one of the center points of her campaign, as has Katie Hobbs. So it's not surprising that both sides would gear up for a potential battle over ballots. The Lake campaign is very much in lockstep with the former president, Mr. Trump. So not a surprise that she would pull in people from former President Trump's orbit into her campaign here. I think it does underscore that folks are positioning for what could be a lengthy battle here, and if it is really, really close and we move into recount territory, the race may not be settled until late December.
All right, Kris Van Cleave for us in Tempe. Kris, thank you very much.
Sure thing.
And a reminder, we will have coverage all day on Election Day, as well as a special edition of Red and Blue that starts November 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on CBS News.